when I checked your notes at the end, I would have been annoyed if you couldn't see it, so, thank you. Okay, so I said find the exact value. So we're given a trig function of sine and an angle or an arc length of 5 pi over 6. So I kind of like these ones because there's not a lot of work involved. It's really just looking something up. So what you're going to do is find 5 pi over 6 in your circle. So I literally just start, I don't know where it is. I just start going around. It's right here. Okay. So I find that. I'm going to look at the point next to it. So once again, at home, it might not be like super clear, but that this is posted for you. So we might want to look it up. What I always do, I always tend to get overwhelmed when I look at this because there's just like a lot going on. I tend to just kind of remind myself, I just write it over here, that I'm going to be referring to this point. So that's not my answer. It's just kind of just to organize my brain for a second because there's a lot going on in that circle. So once I looked up 5 pi over 6 and I found the point that goes with it, I just remind myself what I'm looking for. I'm looking for sine. So I just go back up here and sine of my arc length or of my angle is equal to y. So once I have my point, it's just equal to the y of that point. So I would say it's equal to 1/2 and then I'm done. So that's why I like those. It's like you don't have to plug in, you don't have to find something fancy. You're literally just looking at the point and then just seeing what you need from that point. I'm gonna get rid of So angle. Find the angle in the circle, find the point that goes with it, and then look at your trig function and see what you need from that point. In that case, sine was equal to y, so I just found the y from that point, and that's my final answer. So I always tend to like sine and cosine because they're the easiest. Some of the other ones have fractions, that's kind of annoying, but we'll keep it a little more basic today. So let's do a cosine one. Oh, that's a nice thing. So let's do cosine of 7 pi over 4. All right, so just organize your info first. Find 7 pi over 4. So you just start kind of going around the circle. 7 pi over 6, 7 pi over 4. I like to write down the points. That's just kind of more for me. If you want to just give the answer, that's fine. And then I just look up and see what I need. Cosine is equal to x. So cosine of this angle is equal to the x of that point. And you're done. Delightful. So once again, when I see cosine sine, I'm like, oh yes. Some of the other ones are get kind of annoying with the fractions. But in that case, you're really just looking it up and just seeing what you need. Oh, I'm struggling today. From the point that's given to you. So I'll give everyone a second because I'm checking your notes. I want to give you an extra second to get caught up. We're going to do one tangent one, and I'm going to have you guys try one or two just to see how you're feeling. All right, let's do a tangent one. So tangent does have the fraction, which can be a little annoying because it's y over x. I'll try not to torture you with it. So let's say I said something like, can you find the exact value of tangent of pi over 2? So you would say to yourself, because remember, you're just kind of going into these like, I don't know what's going to happen. You say, I look at the point that corresponds with that angle. So pi over 2 is right there. That's the point 0, 1. Okay. I look up my trig function because I'm like, who really has these memorized? Tangent is y over x. So just remember that's x and y. So y over x would be 1 over 0. Anytime you have a 0 in the denominator, you always write your answer as being undefined. Ooh, I can't write today. You can't divide by 0. I don't even know what just happened. Me writing that. There we go. So anytime a 0 is in the denominator, it's undefined. You guys probably don't remember because this was so long ago. We had like this big long chart that we were filling in. We're actually going to start to use that again tomorrow. So if you can't find it, it's not the biggest deal, I'll print some more out. Once again, I know it's annoying for the people at home, so if you can find it, that would be useful. But everything we did before with that chart actually relates to all this stuff. So we'll bring it back. In one of the columns, what that happened was things were undefined, so just a heads up. All right, so we'll keep it basic. We'll stay with the sine, cosine, tangent for now, just so we have to deal with a few less fractions. So can you try these ones? Because I'm going to add a step on, but I just want to make sure you know what you're doing before I add the step. So if I said, could you please find the exact value of sine of 4 pi over 3, sorry, I'll move in a second, I don't find it in the way, and cosine of 3 pi over 4, and then tangent of pi over 4. So if I said, hey, can you use what we just kind of talked about and find the exact values of those, could you try those 3 now? And update attendance as you're doing stuff. We've got the young. So once again, right, we got some circular function, so that kind of tells us what we need, but you have to look up the points that correspond to that angle first, and then you take what you need depending on the trig function. I'll give you another minute or two. Then we're just going to add one step. We'll try a few of those, and that'll kind of be it. So, it won't be too terrible. Hopefully. Sometimes you're at home and you're like, I cannot read that. Well, that doesn't look too terrible. That unit circle is on your Google Classroom. There's just a link to it. Make it probably a little bit more readable. So 30 more seconds. All right, so what I'm going to do is just look at each one. I'm going to do the same step. Find the point that corresponds to it, and then decide what I need from that point depending on the trig function. So 4 pi over 3 is here. So I like to write the points. That's just me, though. Once again, we see a lot of the points are the same. It's just like things kind of flip around. Sine is y, so I just pick the y. Done. Okay, so I like that one. I always like sine ones. Cosine, 3 pi over 4 is the point right here. So that's negative root 2 over 2. Root 2 over 2. Cosine is x. Take the x, you're done.
That's all you do.
That's it. I know. But sometimes it just seems too easy. We're keeping it light today, okay? Tangent, pi over 4. We got this. Oh, sorry, there's no negative there. So you're probably saying like, oh, that's y over x, and then I have to put this over this, and that just looks annoying. But remember, I'm just dividing that by itself, so don't like overthink it. When you divide something by itself, the answer is just 1, and you're done. So I'll try to spare you on some of the more annoying fraction ones. Okay, are there any questions with that? So we're just gonna add one step on, and that's it. And then we'll just try a few, and then there'll be 2 wrap-up problems, and then that'll be it. But that's kind of the main idea of every problem. So what happens sometimes is I might ask you for something like this. To find the exact value. P.S. For this next one, a calculator might be handy. So if you have one, take it out. If you need to borrow one in class, go for it. I'm going to ask you for the value. Sorry, I need to actually find it. Sine. Oh, that's like so weird. This one's a pain. Of 11 pi over 3. So here's where the issue lies and why this one is a little bit different and why we have to add 1 step on. If you go around that circle, there is no 11 pi over 3. Oh, God. Okay. So this has happened to us before, right? So we've done things between 0 and 360, but when things were too high or when things were too small, like they were negative, we found what was called a coterminal angle. And we can do the same thing with this, which is in radians. So to find a coterminal angle, aka we want an angle in that circle. So we need to switch it up a little bit. When it was degrees, we added or subtracted 360. When it's radians, we add or subtract 2 pi. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it. Once again, I just like the calculator because it just takes the annoyingness out of adding and subtracting fractions, because it will do it right for me. So once again, I look, it's not in the circle, I say, oh crap. I need to find a coterminal, so this is not bad, it's just like one quick little step. So I'm gonna take, I'm just kind of labeling stuff. So to find the coterminal, I'm gonna take 11 pi over 3, and I'm gonna add, I'm not gonna add 2 pi, that would make it bigger, that's not gonna help me. I would subtract 2 pi, right, because it's too big, I wanna make it smaller. When you're using your calculator, because I'm just gonna use mine, I don't want to do it in my head, do not put the pi's in. So when you put a pi in, the pi symbol, it makes it a decimal, which we don't want. So I'm just gonna do 11 over 3 minus 2. So once again, I'm not putting my pi symbols in because I don't want a decimal answer, I want it in terms of pi. I just give it to me as a fraction, and it comes out to 5/3. So I just kind of throw the pi back up there with it. So now I'm feeling pretty good because 5/3 is right there. That was my main goal. That's something that's actually in the circle. So remember now, instead of finding, well, it's the same thing, but I'm going to be looking at 5 pi over 3 instead of 11 pi over 3. Technically, they're the same angle, so it doesn't really matter. It's just I did one less rotation. So with 5 pi over 3, I look up the point. I say sine is y. So sine is y. And my final answer is -√3 over 2. So we're adding a step on. The reason we have to kind of add it is not everything is nice in that circle, unfortunately. Things can be larger, things can be smaller. So we need to just know, how do I get it in that range? And you're going to either add or subtract 2 pi. So you add 2 pi. If it's a negative, you want to get it to the positive. If it's too large, then you would subtract. So I'll leave that one up for a second. Once again, I was trying to not rush you because I do expect you to write it down. Sometimes I tend to just erase things without giving people enough time. Perfecto. So we're going to do one more where we have to find a coterminal. And I'm going to give you guys 2 wrap-up problems. Okay, so one more. Leave all that stuff up, so I'm going to need that info. Sorry, I actually have to find it. Let's do... I want to find the cosine of -4 pi over 3. Okay, so I'm saying cosine, okay, that's easy, I just need to find the x. Negative 4 pi over 3, so sometimes people want to do this. Well, I can find 4 pi over 3, so I'm just gonna like make everything negative. Don't do that, okay? So you can't just like decide to find something and then make it negative, no. When I look, this angle, negative 4 pi over 3, is not in the circle. So we need to take care of it by finding a coterminal. So to find the coterminal, I just do it like off to the side. I take negative 4 pi over 3, and since it's negative, but I want to make it larger, I'm going to add 2 pi. So once again, it's too small, so I would add 2 pi. If it's too large, I would subtract 2 pi. So I just grabbed my calculator because I don't want to do any extra work. I'm not putting the pi's in the calculator because I don't want decimal approximations. It comes out to 2/3, so once again, I throw that pi back in. And that's going to be the coterminal that I'm referring to when I'm looking in my circle. Okay, so we got an angle. We find the angle. I'm going to write down that point just because I like to organize my brain here. And then last up, cosine is x. Of the points, I take the x, and that would be my final answer. All right. So moral of the story, you should hopefully be getting used to kind of just using the unit circle and what to look for. You're just looking for an angle and then looking at the points that goes with it. If you're just given the angle, then great. If the angle isn't quite there, you might have to find a coterminal by adding or subtracting 2 pi. And that is all the steps we've been doing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up 2 wrap-up problems. So I'm going to leave it up for a minute so people at home, I have things projected from both computers, so it's kind of hard to see your comments. So you're just going to have to wait a minute and I will be checking yours, so do not sign off. If you finish early, just wait patiently until I'm ready to check yours, and then I will be with you in a moment. So we'll try those. People in class, don't put your stuff away. So once again, I'll take a minute to start checking people, and then I will be around to check yours.
I'm not getting 2/3 now. I'm getting either 1 or a decimal. Can you take a pause for me?
Let me come with you. Hold on. Send this for technologies. All right, let me see. Negative 4/3 plus 2. It was coming out that because if I scroll back, you were doing something that went putting the answer and then it was messing you up. So you don't want that. You don't want that.
You know what?
I don't know.
Every time I have negative, it just answers.
Wait, where are you hitting negative? Don't do that. That's why. That's minus. Gets mad when you use that. Hit this for negative. That's why. Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. So here's the problems. All right. I just need my calculator to make them all. What's up? Absolutely. Go for it. Sorry, I know I'm semi in the way. I will be out of the way in a moment. If I try to write sideways, it's messier and that's all right. So for the first one, I'm just asking to find the coterminal. You don't even need to do anything with it. It's just, are you okay with that step? So 23 over pi is not in the unit circle right now. So can you find something, a coterminal that would be in the unit circle? Hint, subtract 2 pi. Okay. And then 2 is asking you to find a value, so you have to look up the angle, you have to find the point, but the angle's negative, so the angle's not in the circle. So find a coterminal. Hint, for this one you add 2 pi. So this one you subtract 2 pi, that one you add 2 pi. Giving you a little hints here, find coterminal. Usually, like, P.S. I'm a math teacher and I'm too lazy to do it in my head, so use a calculator. So can you figure those out at home? If you're finished, just give me a second, because I want to keep this projected for people to see. And if I